Okay, here we go. All right, now back at it again. That was kind of funny though. I'm sitting in the middle of the driveway and the dumpster guy pulls in. That was not exactly what I had in mind. Anyway, back on this, your gauge is showing just a little bit over a quarter of a tank of gas. We put 5 gallons in here to verify the system's functioning, to test run the motor, and also to verify the gauge is doing like it's supposed to. In addition to that, I'm gonna pull this little cover off, make it easier for me to see. They put a little protective cover on there to keep the pollen off your gauges. It's showing it's got a little bit better than 12 volts on it right now. The RPM is at 0, and the hour meter down in the bottom left-hand corner of the gauge is showing 0.1 hours. So it just has the crank up time on it. This is the speedometer on this side over here, but it also has a trim gauge built into it, and you'll see how the trim gauge is, how it's going down. So as you go up and down, you'll see that needle going up and down. And like I said, when we were outside of the boat, when you determine how much where a good clearance is for you between the bottom of the skeg and the ramp, I would take a note on where the unit's located, so that when you come back in to put the boat on the trailer, that you have that arrow in exactly the same place, and that way you'll know that you've got good clearance. Inside this box, let's see if I can get my finger up underneath there. This is where you have a power point in here, so you can plug in put a cell phone in here if you like to. Charger, you can plug charger in here. Also has for the audio, it's got a USB and an auxiliary jack here on this side. So if you wanted to plug your phone in and hook it into the stereo, you can do that here. That stereo is also Bluetooth able, so you don't have to do anything special with that if you want to play your Pandora stuff. This is a 10 amp manual reset circuit breaker, and what they've done on this boat is they give you circuit breakers, and even though you can see the top of that one, you won't see it on these other switches, but it is here. It's underneath each one of these buttons. So if you tripped a breaker, when you push down on it, you'd feel this popped up. You push down and it would click into place again. You got a horn here. This is a switch for the navigation lights going up. And if I push it on the bottom position, it's going to be just an anchor light with no bow lights. So navigation, of course, is when you're running the boat. It'll be both the anchor light and the 2 bow lights on. And in the anchor position, it's going to be just the stern light, and that's on the top of the bimini top. Docking lights, you can't see them from where we're sitting right now out here in the bright sun, and there's nothing in front of the boat. So I can't show you that, but they're working. They're functioning like they should. Most localities, they don't allow you to do that, to run docking lights when you're navigating, when you're running down the lake. It has a live well switch here, but keep in mind this is not a fish model boat. That live well switch doesn't mean anything. You could black that out if you wanted to, because there's no water to go in a live well that doesn't exist either. It does have an accessory switch. Sometimes if you wanted to add something else to the boat where you could tie it into a accessory switch, you can do it. And that's the easiest way to get that done. Let's see, on this side, there's you have a bilge pump switch here, and that bilge pump is also automatic. So it's automatic or manual. I can hear it running right now when I switch it on. You don't have to do anything with any switches at all for this boat to be sitting in the lake. It's going to come on if you get water in the bilge from it, like during the night. You don't have to monitor anything or leave anything turned on. It'll function with everything turned off. You just need a battery. That's a depth finder switch right there. Okay. So what I did is I just pushed it on simulator to give you an idea of what the depth finder looks like when it's going. And you'll see fish coming up on the screen here. It gives you a real good example of what kind of bottom material you have, if it's what kind of echo you get from here, and that's showing bait fish. That little spot right there, that's a bunch of bait fish. Makes me. I wish I were on the lake. I wish I were on the lake with you guys up there right now. That'd be kind of fun. Anyway, there's a little hump right there in the water on the bottom. Anyway, so that's how that works. And the power down, you just push the power button on and take it for just a few seconds to let it go. And that's master power switch is on now. This has got stereo switch. So that'll allow the stereo to come on. And this is the power button for stereo. I don't know if you saw that. That's the power button. That'll mute it. Okay. Now it's back on. And you can control that from this switch. So we'll just turn that switch off. Courtesy light. Courtesy lights, I can see that light is on up in the bow. I don't know if you can tell, it's very bright out. But right where you go through that gate, there's a light there. There's also a light on this side by that gate. Those poles that you see everywhere, those are the support poles for the top, by the way. And then there's another courtesy light right there. I think you can see that one glowing. Don't mean to be yelling at you. All right, I'm going to turn the master power off and the key switch off. The hour meter only counts when the motor's running. So if you had the key switch turned on for any reason, it's not going to count hours. This is how you put this pole on. Turn it. When you get to be my age, you start having difficulty turning things. But anyway, this is with the pole off, and it's got these three lands that are on the bottom of the pole, and then you've got 3 grooves that are cut into the base. It's really kind of user friendly because it's not something that'll snag your feet, going across it. But you take this and you drop it down in there, and it doesn't matter how it's acclimated, it'll drop down in place, and you just turn it clockwise. And once it's locked in clockwise, this piece right here, you'll spin it counterclockwise. And when I lock it in like that, now this can't rotate at all. And this top is only held in place by a groove. Let's see if I can see it. A groove that's on the inside of that round part. And then it's got a little tab right here. And it just seats down on top of it. The most important thing I can tell you about having this table on here is not to ever have it on when you're going down the interstate. Because what happens is this thing can come off and it'll just be a really big frisbee. So it'll fly someplace else. Not a good thing. I put all of your gear on the inside of the console, and I just did that to keep everything together. But it's all laid out in there. You got dock bumpers in here, fire extinguisher, dock lines. You've got these fender keepers for holding the fenders in place. That's all inside there. All the longer stuff and all is going to be in the floor of the boat when you get it. And I didn't get to show you this. There's got a little flap that comes with this thing too. And all this little flap does, it's going to be in your blue bag. It just snaps up here on both sides, so it covers this opening. And this was designed to hold or accommodate a porta potty. So if you wanted to carry one, that's really good. And you got a privacy room back here. Walk back here. And this thing snaps up in place. This is so much better because I can see now. But these snap in place around here. And then it snaps down across the bottom. So you can walk in here. You can zip this up. It all zips up around just so it gives you a privacy room if you wanted to carry the porta potty out in the boat. That little box that's in the corner right here is just a fuel. This is just where your fuel fill is, and the vents and all that are attached right there. That's just the way that they've got it covered up. And they also put access ports in your boat around. You'll find them everywhere. That gives you access to things that you might, if you ever needed to get to connections and things, that's how you do it. And your battery storage is on the driver's side. Those are my shoes. And we did your boat with dual batteries. And so these are the heavy duty Deka marine batteries. There's a piece of ribbon down here, the white ribbon. Don't pull that out and throw it away. That's used to run stuff from back here to the console. And they call that a rigging rope. And if you ever use it to pull something from back here to up front, like if you were going to add LED underwater lights or something like that, and you needed to wire them up under the console, what you do is you use that rigging rope, attach it to whatever you're pulling, plus another rope. You got to have something else to pull back in there, so you'll always have a way to move wiring and that kind of thing from the transom back here up to the console. Just good information to know. You say, well, I don't know what that ribbon's for. It's not that you want it. It just comes free with the boat. All right, on the controls, I'm back up here again. I know I'm bouncing around a good bit. The power trim switch you have back there, you've also got it here. And I showed you how that works on the gauge. And all you're gonna do, for shifting it, you just, when the motor's running, and don't shift it without the motor running, shift it into gear. It's just a real positive engagement into gear to go forward. And to go reverse, it's real positive engagement coming back. These systems are really, really good. One of the most important things to keep in mind is going to be on the safety side. I have to set you down for just a second. Because this is what I do. I wear the safety lanyard around my wrist. And the reason for doing that is that, you know, if you get thrown out of a boat, what it'll do is it'll cut the power. The motor cuts off. If you don't do that and you get thrown out of the boat, you can get run over. So this is a better option, and I think that, Gene, I think that Joe would like it if you were wearing this little ring around your wrist so he could keep you around for a little bit longer. And the best way to do it as a reminder to put this on is to leave it hanging on the handle, and that way when you start up and you could go shift it into gear, it'll be a reminder to you that you need to have that on your wrist. But that's just a really important safety thing. And I know that you know that I'm just cutting up when I'm saying that Gene's driving the boat all the time. You can make Joe do it too. And you got 4 speakers in the boat too. There's 1, 2, I see 3. And then there's another one on this side up in the bow. The stainless steel cup holders are also included in this package. We did that stainless steel package. It's stainless steel rub rail, stainless steel everywhere, horn covers and stainless steel cup holders. This has got the quick release on the windshield. You take these tabs and you turn them, and it allows you to take the windshield off. If you need to clean behind it, sometimes you get leaves and things like that that'll get down in there, and that's an easy way to clean it. And like I said, this has got these seats all come up. They're all rotocast bases inside here, and these are the places you'd want to keep your life jackets. I put them in the console, but you'd be better off if you have them where they're easily accessible, like underneath the seating or being worn. And if I think of anything else, I'm gonna let you know. But for right now, I think that's it. And if you have any questions, just call me, and I'll be glad to answer any questions you got. And I appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. And it's gonna be, I'm excited for you. You guys are gonna have a ball with this boat. I'm gonna take this big giant frisbee. I'm gonna put it up too. And so it won't be out when you get your boat, but it'll be hid away for you. And I appreciate it again. Thanks, y'all.